Like for me, it's like, I mean, what I'm interested in, right? Surfing, skating,
Yeah,
fighting.
yeah,
So, and
yeah,
some comedians, graffiti guys. Like, I'm like, you want to do it real quick, and
yeah,
it's cool. How
for
you
sure.
been?
Good, good. Yeah, I'm just cruising. Just it's funny because this little city of Costa Mesa right here. It's I'm born and raised in Newport and Costa Mesa, so it's cool to have like guys like you here and
Thank you, man.
seeing the progression of just people coming here, people that have lived here, and watching the whole thing kind of blow up.
A lot of athletes around in this area, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. When I was a kid, all the biggest clothing companies from Quicksilver, Volcom, Billabong, Ruka, it was all right here. The surf community, and it's crazy to think this little town produced
So much talent.
so much stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like a center part between LA and San Diego. Like in LA, you have a lot going on. San Diego gets mellow, but you still got some. But out here is kind of like radical in a way. Like you have a little bit of everything. Like
I mean, that's the thing is we're in between San Diego and LA. So in my mind, it's the perfect place to live. But when I go to LA, I see how sometimes crazy it could be, and then I go to San Diego and it's a little more sleepy. So Orange County for me is kind of perfect because it's like you get a little bit of both,
about yeah,
a little crazy, a little bit not crazy.
it's like perfect balance in this area. So you since you're like born and raised here, like you started skating out here.
Yeah, I mean, back when I was a kid here, it was a lot more of the surf industry. So I ended up surfing first, and then I always skated. But most of my friends that I grew up with that are from here, they just surfed, and then later skateboarding kind of got more popular as I started growing up. But for the majority of my friends that I grew up with, we just surfed and skated and listened to music, and it was like I feel like surfing was first.
I feel like for most people they start in the water first, and also I mean both are dangerous, but it's safer at the beginning in the water
Yeah,
because there's in the water you can get a whitewash and stand up, and that's how you learn. But in the skating, every little fell, you're pretty much breaking
yeah.
an
I mean,
arm.
surfing's my retirement plan for sure, dude. Like I'm falling in water once I can't skate. But it's actually funny that you say that because surfing it depends on how gnarly you want to get at it. Because
Right.
when it gets big,
That's gnarly.
you see the men from the kids because only the men go out when it's gnarly out there, but all the little kids are out all the time. But when it gets big, I mean, there's a few kids. Don't get me wrong, but
Right.
I'm saying like surfing's like actually probably more dangerous and more scary because you could die surfing. I feel like skating you could get really hurt, but I don't feel like unless you do something really stupid that you're gonna die.
Well, like if the waves are like gnarly, big, like and like powerful,
Yeah.
yes. But like I would say for the beginner point of view,
Oh yeah, for
it's
sure.
gonna be way safer. That's probably people that start surfing, but like transition to skating is like I love skating. I
Yeah.
can for sure surf better than I skate,
Hmm.
but like every time I try anything a little harder and the skate goes flying and I just land on concrete, it's scary. And I need to be careful because every little
Yeah, I mean,
thing
you don't
mess
want
me
to.
up.
You don't want to. It's so crazy because I've had like a lot of crazy injuries in my life. Skating. And it's always been like just something stupid. Hit a pole or slide off, go off the side of the ramp, or like
You have a gnarly one, the
yeah, on the
scalp one.
head. Yeah. I mean that kind of stuff. That's just some people get away with never really getting that hurt, and then some people, like myself, sometimes I've been hurt so many times, but I've realized that like uh, I'm kind of used to it now, where I didn't ever expect to have to do that. But the only thing now, it's just more annoying because then I have to rehab, get back. But it's not really like the pain and stuff. It's not so much that; it's more the mental. Where I'm like, damn it, dude, now I got to be out for 6 months, and I
Right.
don't have 6 months to be out because I mean, the pain sucks. Don't get me wrong, but it's the time off that really kills me. And then I've learned, as I get older, your body heals a little slower. So when you get like a major injury, it's just that time that kills me. You know what I mean? More than
Right.
the actual like and it's crazy because I've seen myself get pretty hurt, but when I see someone else get hurt, it almost bothers me more
Right. Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
Yeah,
I've been in the gym. Like it's almost like you're more in control of yourself, and
yeah,
probably you know you can get through. But when you see your friend, you're
yeah,
like, oh no, poor thing.
yeah,
I feel what you're saying. Like I have seen guys in the gym, like they're grappling,
yeah,
and boom, knee blew up, and I'm like, fuck.
dude.
It's sad.
I
Yeah.
I broke my ankle on my friend Milton Martinez. He got the Skater of the Year in 2019, and I was in Australia, and I broke my ankle on the trip, and it was bad. Dislocated my ankle, and I was there, and I seen myself, and I was like, damn, like oh shit. But if I see someone else do it, it even makes me more uncomfortable. Like I can handle it if it's me, but when it's someone else, it's always such a crazy thing for me to watch people get hurt.
It's
I'm
worse.
the first one to want to help, but I get too freaked out and I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So it's
Makes
like
sense. But it's
I'll go
just
run for help, and
the
I'll hold them,
wilderness.
but pet them. But I mean, at the same time, it's
There's not
like
much.
it's not much I could do. You know?
I mean, when you see people getting hurt, it's fucked up.
Yeah,
It's actually like that's like a scary job. But the people that work on ambulance and shit,
for sure.
I asked him like, I'm like, how you see someone shot, someone with a bone coming? I can. I like if I see that, I run for help. I call somebody, but I won't be able to
Do that.
handle
Hey, thank God for those people though,
because that's a gnarly
I
job.
mean, dude, I've had so many times where it's like, your friends are there and they don't know what they're doing. You're looking at them, they're looking at you, and it's like everyone, but that takes that one person that knows what they're doing, which is usually the medic. And even at the events, you guys probably have really good doctors and medics and stuff. So at a lot of the skate events, when early days we didn't really have the best medics. Nowadays it's way more.
It's more pro.
It's more
Yeah, like there's
professional.
ambulance and
Yeah, it's
stuff.
like there's an actual real doctor there, and like the X Games and stuff like that. They have like actual people that are qualified. But early days, man, we were just
You have a bed on
yeah,
set.
we just had a truck ready to go. Put them in the back of the truck, and that's when you could ride in the back of the truck without
Legally, yeah.
legally.
In Ecuador, you still can.
Yeah, so.
And when you started skating, like at what age you started getting like actual good that you transitioned to competitions?
Well, we were kind of some of the younger generation, I turned pro at 16, and that was in 1989. And there was like Danny Way was one of the same kind of generation. And so you had the Tony Hawks, you had the Christian Asoys, and we were like 5, 6 years after them. But it was crazy because it turned that much to where it's like they were getting older, and then Danny and I were coming in, but we still had to compete against them. But we were the ones that had to like, really take the torch and be the next pros and stuff. Danny Way was another one who was probably one of my favorite, skaters. But we kind of grew up in that same generation. I think he even turned pro when he was like 13 or
Oh
something.
wow.
So, but nowadays these kids are turning pro really young as well. I went through a phase there where it kind of you had to be like a little older, but now these kids are, now with like the Olympics and all this stuff, they're just breeding them. And in skateboarding, it's really weird. It's not like the UFC where there's an actual protocol or like organization behind it. Like anyone can just say they're pro or enter a pro contest. And when I first started, you have to make through these amateur ranks, and
Which is like today we'll be on fighting.
yeah. So and then we would have to turn pro once you made it to a certain level as an amateur, and then you'd turn pro. But a lot of that has changed. Like even the Olympics, I don't think you can be an amateur and enter the Olympics, which is kind of crazy to me because it's like you're not really a pro yet.
Right. And pro means when you are sponsored officially by a brand, right?
That means when you are actually a professional skateboarder and you're not a little kid amateur, and you paid your dues enough to where you're qualified to be in there against guys like Nija or guys like Tom Shaw or Grayson. You that's when you're at a professional level in my mind.
Right.
But there's no like regulations on it. So
And what do you think before you had the amateur like kind of like rankings to become pro, and now it's kind of like dissolved? Like
it's just a free for all. I think what happened too is there's so many skaters now, and the companies, and there's no one saying that like, okay, like you want to start a pro company, like you could be like Chito Skateboards, and have no problem tomorrow, where like you can't come into the UFC and be like, I'm gonna enter you in a fight with no name
That makes sense.
or no qualifications, but you can go in there and try. You can go up against the best. And then even with the Olympics, I think there's like 100 and something people that try to qualify for the Olympics, which is insane to me because it's like, how many of those people really are qualified? And they just made it kind of like
Right.
a circus a little bit. You know what I mean? In my mind, though.
You've been skating your whole
Yeah,
life,
yeah.
and you're still skating. You're still like competing.
Yeah.
Like you were mentioning that you're prepping for like a tournament for like on like how is it by age?
Yeah, so they did it kind of by generation and age. Vans just did it at the Block of Orange called the Combi Contest. That's where Grayson kick flipped into the thing.
That was crazy.
Yeah, so those kind of contests are cool because that's ran by people that are do invite only. So you can't just go in there and skate. You have to be invited, and then
Right.
so now they're having to do things like that to make it more legitimate. But when it comes to like a lot of the mainstream events, some of them, like the Olympics and stuff, there's no real qualifications, and they just kind of like whoever can qualify.
How they qualify for like X Games, for example?
I mean, there's just some people in a room that kind of pick who's who, but that still has a little better idea of who should be in the event. You know, it's not just anybody.
Right.
So they pick and choose. But there's a guy named Pedro Barros.
From Brazil. I saw him skate live.
So he's probably one of my favorite skateboarders, you know, one of my best buddies. And like, if you're going to put yourself in the arena with Pedro, you should be qualified. That's like coming into a fight and not being a fighter really that well yet. And you're going to go fight against you. It's like, there's a certain level that you have to get to even put yourself into that arena. So a lot of those dudes get weeded out, and then only the strong survive, you know what I mean? But like someone like Pedro, you know, like why even try to go in there unless you're going to be ready to compete against that kid? Because he's going to go hard on you.
His skate's really
he's
hard.
Gnarly.
And he have like a crazy ball in his house in Brazil.
Yeah.
Like I went to the last X Games, and I didn't know who he was. I met him that day actually, and I was like, holy shit, who is that guy?
Yeah.
Like he skates like heavy.
He's probably the craziest. Like he's just full bore. You know what I mean? And like it's funny because you saw Grayson do the kickflip into the combi. One year he aired over the whole middle of it, and that was like breaking ground. That was 6 years ago. But he's been really good as a kid. But when he was, 16, 15, he turned pro, but he deserved to turn pro because he was that special kid. You know what I mean? So I guess someone like him is a good example of what I mean by like, unless you're that kid, then
Right. That makes sense.
and Pedro's also one of those guys who he kind of funds. He's from Florianopolis, Brazil. And he runs that whole town, right? And skating there is like, it's like living on the North Shore for surfing.
Oh, wow.
But he's the king of the castle, like he created a lot of bowls, and his dad has been really influential in the community with building skate parks everywhere. Those guys, you go to Florianopolis, Brazil, and you see what they're doing, and it's absolutely insane.
I mean, and if you start like making like them, like a bunch of like public skate parks, like a lot more people will skate, because sometimes when there's only like one,
Yeah.
it gets too crowded. It's hard to learn. Like I've been in public skate parks and I'm not very good. And if I want to try to get good at it, there's like so much people going by and it gets dangerous. And also you have like little kids that you gotta watch and stuff. So probably the more the better.
Yeah, and what's crazy too is when I was growing up, we were in backyards. There weren't skate parks that much. In the
Just
beginning
round.
there was a little bit, and then they kind of died off. But you used to go and knock on people's doors, and they'd be like, "Not today," or whatever, or "Yeah," or "No," and
And
then
they will have like a
ramp in the
a ramp.
backyard. Usually ramps, and it was funny because there'd be a couple guys sometimes like, "We're not skating today," or whatever. But you could hear people skating in the background, like they just punk you, And there was like a pecking order of like.
Maybe
Locals that would be like, "Yo, dude, not today." They're back there just clowning you, as a little kid. But that was like a lot of people from my generation had to do the backyard and in the streets. We were like skating the street a lot, you know. So I feel like that helped me because I was able to learn how to skate street, and then I was able to learn how to skate ramps, and then pools and parks came back to play again, and we were already had like a little bit of one up on the next generation of the newer kids. They had to learn how to skate parks again. But the public park thing's kind of crazy because they put skate parks in just public parks, and sometimes that can get dangerous.
It is. Like sometimes you see like a guy on a huge like one of those like long like sectors
Yeah,
or
Venice.
yeah, and they're like cruising on it, and you're
Yeah.
like, some of them are good at it, but some of them are like cruising in a way they look they're gonna get hurt, and then in the next one you have like a really good one just throwing crazy airs, and they can collide or fall on each other like, and at that speed anything can happen.
I just trip out on how there's no like, I don't know how the insurance laws work, but anyone can just go and drop in and slam, and it's like that's the city has a different thing going. I have a pool in my yard that I built for skating and swimming, so it's both.
Oh shit! So you
Yeah.
just drained it when you won?
So I drain it, but it's a pretty big one. Like, um, but I learned that when it's at your house like that, you got to be careful because if someone gets hurt, then it's like the liability of that is
Right.
on you. But yeah, these city parks, man, it's just like anyone can just
You see kids on the
go
scooters
in there.
dropping
Yeah.
bicycles, and the last time I went, this kid was on a regular bicycle, like just fully dropping, and I was like, I just grab the skate and sit down because I was like, I wasn't even dropping the thing. I was just like getting a speed inside, kind of like cruising,
Yeah.
and this kid just dropped next to me, and I was like,
No,
"Whoa."
it's the etiquette. But see, that's what I go back to that backyard thing. Like I used to go to someone's backyard, and you're in their backyard, and if you start getting too aggressive or try snaking people, they're like, "Dude, we don't want this kid to come back." And there was like, you had to be cool with everybody, and then
and
you
show
had
more
to
respect.
learn like, you know, even in the early days when we'd skate, there was this upland skate park back in the day, and like say Tony Hawk would show up or someone like that, and I would actually just sit down and let them skate and watch because that was like the etiquette back in the day. Because nowadays kids will just trying to get there and show you that they can rip, like they're like, look how good I am,
Right.
you know. But back then we were a little bit more like, and skateboarding was really small, so I feel like you knew who everyone was.
That
You,
makes sense.
you had like an idea of who they are.
And that make people be more aware of respect because they know you're gonna get
For sure.
burned if you just keep acting like that.
And you know that you're gonna be a kook.
Yeah, they're gonna kick you out. You're like, you know what, dude?
Like,
Bye,
yeah.
fuck off.
Or they're just gonna be like, this dude sucks. You know, maybe take their pads off when you show up. It's like,
I mean, that makes sense. Now there's that respect line kind of get lost in the line. Like if you go to a park and you see like a older one that is ripping, like you say, you just step down and watch instead of like just dropping on him and kind of like,
Yeah.
hey, watch this. I can do the same as you.
I mean, it's like you can tell the kids that are cool because they want to kind of learn and they know when it's time to like show that they rip, and then they know, and then there's the ones that don't know that timing, and they just go in and and then it makes you kind of be like, I don't know, this guy's like too much for me
Right.
today. Like I just want to come and have fun. He's trying to compete with me, and it's just another day at the skate park or
Right.
whatever.
And,
You know
I
what I mean?
It's not the time for that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's almost sad because some of them they don't even know they're doing anything wrong. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're just hungry and aggressive. You
They
know,
want to show. And that's how also you get noticed sometimes.
for sure,
You're like, yo, what? Check this out.
dude. Instagram, social media. You know, you might get some views on that stuff. I mean, it's kind of crazy how that works.
Like nowadays, how you keep your body together? Like you do some sort of like strength and conditioning or
I mean, you know what's crazy is
working out.
I surf a lot. I go to the gym once in a while, but I more like my injuries are like this. So if I'm feeling good and I haven't been injured for a long time, I get on a good roll and then I get smoked and then I get back to ground zero. But like as I get older, yeah, it's been more like just I try to surf a lot. I feel like surfing's the key to kind of like in your guys' situation, going to the gym and that's probably better as far as like as a whole. But skateboarders, to be honest, I feel like the new generation's doing it more, but our generation is just we never really did that. We
Just skate.
we would just skate and surf, and yeah, we never took it as like we needed to do that. But now I feel like, as we get older and stuff, it's like you start feeling it way more, and um, but like I was saying, Pedro Barros and those guys, they have a regimen like you do. You know what I mean? Where they're just absolutely in the gym doing
Physical therapy, stretching.
and someone like Grayson doesn't do any of that because he's just cut from a different cloth.
All is cool.
It's just
in a way.
he's like, I'm killing it as is. Like, why would I do that? But you get to an age like where I'm at. I'm 51 now, so it's like I'm realizing, like, dude, there's certain things that I just can't do that I used to be able to do. And then the hard part is your brain, as you get older, starts to, like, you want to jump back to where you were, or like your motor skills are different. So it's going to be interesting for someone like Grayson, like he's a perfect example of, he almost looks at that as being kind of jockey. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
for guys that are going too hard in the skate thing, where they're trying too hard to work out and stuff, but they're not skating every day. And he's just naturally, talented.
Right.
And he since he doesn't drink, and he's kind of like a ninja, that guy. I don't know.
Yeah, like when I would talk to him, he was like, I'm skating a lot and I don't do anything nightlife. And I'm like, well, at least you're not beating yourself double, because by skating you're already falling,
Yeah.
landing hard. So it's like, if you keep like a healthy lifestyle with some good eating,
Yeah.
you should be just fine. But like when I ask about, like, conditioning the body, also because if you get a little stronger, probably you'll be able to, like,
Yeah.
jump harder or get a little more explosiveness. But like, I mean, yeah, that would take time for the skating too. Like, if you have to go to the gym and physical therapy, but
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, if you skate a lot, it's kind of hard to balance those things out. Danny Way was really good at doing that stuff, but it's like there's a few people that really get into it enough to do it like that. A lot of the some of the best skaters in the world are, street skating's really big. And some of those street skaters that are out there, they don't do anything to condition themselves. They just pick a spot. They know what they're going to do. They find spots. Then they jump down them. And it's crazy. It's like, it's not like it's never been like an athleticism situation. It's more of like
reps.
It's just mind over matter over a spot. And yeah, it's never been like that. Like when I was saying Pedro, those guys really, like, look, they get gnarly, you know what I mean? So but that's kind of why he's kind of an unbeatable dude too, He's taken it to a different level. He's
Right.
taken skating to a different level in the transition world of it. But a lot of these guys that skate, the streets and stuff, they're just
skating.
They're just skating, man.
That makes sense.
They don't even think twice. Like, it's more of like a skill and a will and have enough balls to, like, when I was a
Get
kid,
them.
it was like 8 stairs maybe. 15 stairs were gnarly. Now these kids are grinding down like 30 stairs, So
It keeps getting crazy and crazy with time.
they're just, and then they're not doing anything except just skating their faces off all the time,
I mean, if you go to something like that, like 30 stairs, and you try, you fail, try, fail, try, fail. If you stay for 6 hours just trying that one thing, eventually you made it. And for that makes sense. Why
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to the gym if
Yeah.
I don't have the stairs in the gym?
Yeah, that's another one too. Yeah, there's nothing that could train you for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like from the outside side, like to kind of like condition the body, because you guys land heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, and you still skating
Yeah.
crazy. Like you don't
Yeah.
skate safe at all.
No, but that's the problem, is if I did, do a little more, is like, like I said, though, with the injuries, it's so hard to balance. And with
You
the
just don't
physical,
know.
I'll go to physical therapy because I have to. But then
Right.
once I get on a roll again, I try to go as hard as I can, and then you get smoked again. And
Now you gotta go back to
you gotta
physical-
go back to physical therapy, and then you get smoked again, and then you're back to physical therapy. It's like a vicious cycle. But yeah, it's kind of like one of those things where even in surfing too, I feel like surfing, because I grew up with a lot of guys, you know, like someone like Kelly Slater, for example, is I just look at him and he probably goes to the gym maybe a little bit, but not really. And he just serves.
He's also, yeah, I mean,
He just, that's what he does. And it's crazy because you would think someone like him would want to condition or be, but he's just so focused on doing that. And that's enough for him to be able to just keep doing that without having to do anything else. He's a freak of nature, obviously.
and I think since he travels a lot, I I almost get to realize by seeing his surfing is like he never stays here when I don't know when some other country has waves, and then
Yeah.
he goes almost like he lives on the swell.
Yeah. And he's got houses in Australia, in Hawaii, and places where it's like he can bounce around and do that. But Kelly's a perfect example of kind of what we're talking about, where he's a freak of nature, where he can just surf, and that's all he's done. It's been enough for him. And if you ask him, he'll be like, "Surf, the ocean's my jam. Like,
Right.
I don't even need to like mess around with anything else." Like, and then it's so weird because at his age, he's another one that I kind of trip out on. I think he's only had a couple like major injuries, like his foot or something, but
His Achilles
he's
too.
gotten away with so much over his lifetime.
That's true.
So that's kind of also he's been lucky with the injury.
But I
card.
believe in between those two sports is one of those ones that you can really just do the sport
Yeah.
without doing anything else. Probably for me because I don't just box or kickbox. So we need to do like 8 sports, and it's kind of like sometimes when I see like a friend that just boxes, I'm like, fuck, that's cool. He just have to punch,
Yeah.
run, and lose weight.
Yeah.
You have to punch, kick, wrestle, grapple.
Yeah, I mean that's dude, you're in a different ball game, especially nowadays because I feel like where the UFC was in the beginning to where it's at now has become so much more progressive. And that's
Yeah.
how skating and even surfing it has been so much. Now it's more of a popular thing to do. So the more popular it gets, the more people are going to be doing it, and the more you're going to have this pressure of like this short time limit to be able to do what you have to do and be able to have more like eyes on you. Like, is he still doing it? Is he still killing it? You know, which is
Yeah.
that's a crazy part of even me skating. You know, like luckily I've been able to skate, and then with the younger generation still appreciates what I do. I feel like a little bit.
100%.
So that's what the hardest thing is, to win their hearts, because the guys I grew up with, a lot of them aren't really skating as much, or they don't really have the passion, or they're not willing to get hurt, or they're not willing to jump down something. You know, where I feel like the kids have made me want to like try, because I'm like if they're stoked on what I'm doing, then that's
You're gonna try
how
harder.
and then they're all there. Like, for example, we were in Barcelona, and I did this board slide down this ledge, and that day, all the kids were posted up, and some of them had their beers and stuff, and we were on a little trip out there, and they're sitting there, and all of a sudden I look over, and I have some of the best kids that could do what I'm doing first try. But since it was me up there, they were like
Or watching.
all watching, stoked, and I was like, fuck, man. And then I slam, and then I finally made it, and the celebration was insane. But I knew in my heart that for me that was great, but for these kids, they were just stoked that I did it. But they could have all done it like first try.
But like that
You
keeps
know
you
what I mean?
young in a
Yeah.
way. And also, I mean, having the passion for it is
Yeah.
what makes you do it. But the fact that they're like
Stoked.
stalking you out,
Yeah.
come on, do it.
Yeah.
That keeps. I mean, that's why you stay so
For sure.
so relevant, and you still skating the way you skate, because it. When I watch your clips, I'm like, holy
Yeah.
shit! You don't see fighters at that age kicking ass like
Yeah.
that, or in other sports, and you're like just going for shit that
Yeah.
you can get hurt, but you're. I mean,
But it's also one of those things where I don't know any better. Like, it's like what I've always done. You know, it's not something that I'm like analyzing. I've never had coaches or managers. It's funny because I see all these kids nowadays with agents and all this stuff. You know, I've been riding for Vans since 1986 when I was like 13 years old, right? And I'm still on Vans. I'm one of the longest guys that've been on Vans shoes. And I never use an agent. And I think it kind of helped because I would be my own agent, and I'd be like,
you learn how to
I
get your
learned how to
deals.
do my own thing, and I've had a lot of like corporate sponsors or whatever, but I did it on my own through like realizing like what I want and how to do it. And it was funny. I rode for Ford Trucks one time, and I had like it was like a 5 year thing, and they were all stoked on me, and they're like, "We're just gonna give you the agent fee because you're your own agent." And I was like,
Fuck yeah.
"I'm like perfect." And then they kept me on for those years, and I noticed through those 5 years they had kicked a couple people off and redid like the surfer or the snowboarder because the agents were so hard to deal with.
I mean, the agents are always asking probably for more so they can get a cut
For
too.
sure.
I, in a way, making it harder, but it can go both ways. Then there's guys that doesn't have an agent and they don't get shit either.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's almost like if you're good, you're good,
Yeah.
and you're being that good. That's why, like, I mean, you're like you say with Vans, you're one of the few guys that has managed to keep a full set of sponsors. Like, how been like I mean, how you maintain them like that?
See, that's the thing is they can count on me for whatever they need. So we have also this legend program, which is like Tony Alva, Christian Asoy, Steve Caballero, and then myself. And they kind of they make us do some other stuff as well, you know, like just show up to signings and go to shops because Vans has a bunch of shops to just go to like walk in and they'll do like store appearances and stuff. But then luckily they'll put me on the trips with the kids, which I kind of like more because if I can get on a trip that's actually like through like Thrasher magazine or something, for example, and I can get in the van with the kids, you know. Tony and Christian and Cab don't necessarily have to do that as much anymore because they're at a level where it's like I don't think they want to. But I don't mind getting in there and you know, so I feel like just being accessible at all times and having them always be like, "Hey, Omar, show up here," and then you're there and you're like doing your thing, and it's they know they can count on you, and it's like being accountable is like the number one thing.
Right. That makes sense because you keep doing something that also pushes the brand, and I mean for those kids to have you there, it's gonna make them wanna perform too, and probably the movies came out sick because they wanna impress you, and
Yeah.
you feed off them, and you also do gnarly shit, and it's like a win-win for everybody.
And it's kind of cool too because I feel like I'm lucky enough to meet these kids that are coming up that are like in the van with me that I know, and then I get to actually meet like personally, and then I get a relationship with them, and we're skating together, and then it's like I feel like it educates me on the future as well, and I'm not like in there trying to think like I deserve respect or don't you know who I think I am. It's like it's not like that. It's like, you know, you're the kid now, and it's like I appreciate that, and it's like passing the torch with gratitude
That's amazing
instead
to
of
hear.
being like, you know, kind of pompous and having like a self-righteous attitude. I feel like that's not a good way to be as you get older. You know what I mean? Like don't like try to demand too much respect from these kids because they really don't care. Like they don't give a fuck, and it's like that's how I was when I was that age. I was hungry, and I was
Right.
like,
I mean, that's how you get respect. You can buy it. You have to earn it, right?
yeah,
So, but having a good attitude is gonna be simple
for
for
sure,
the kids to like be like, oh fuck yeah, like
yeah,
he have achieved a lot of things and he's not acting all weird with
yeah,
us. I haven't seen people like that. They have they win something or they're doing kind of good and they start like acting like assholes and it's like that just fucks with the whole energy of everything.
for sure. And then if you're on a team and you're in the van, your energy uh, also has a lot to do with how the whole trip's gonna go and how the whole vibe's gonna go. And if you're that one dude that everyone in the van's kind of bummed on, you know what I mean? And I've seen it a million times. There's always that one dude that's blowing it or something, you know, like, so you just learn from that as well. And it never gets old, like figuring that one out, like how to like interact with people. And even, you know, you go on you're on a skate trip and you could just be in the streets and someone could be like a skater that's just happens to show up to a spot and they're stoked to see you there and you're in some weird country or some weird state that you're not ever in and they're like appreciate your presence, you know. That's kind of why we do the thing as well, you know.
That's sick. What has been like the best country to skate?
I really like Australia, just because it's kind of nice weather. Um, People are really cool there. There's not one place in general. Spain seems to be really big. Like they have a lot of skate spots there. Just like they, for some reason, didn't realize when they were doing all their architect stuff that it was perfectly made for skating. So
Also, like
Barcelona,
parcels are not like made for a skate. They're like perfect to skate.
yeah, they built all this shit. And we're like, dude, this is skate spots everywhere, you know. And I don't think they realized what they were doing, because now that's just saturated. You can go to Barcelona, it's skateboarders everywhere. You know what I mean? And they'll live there or stay there for months at a time. And so Barcelona's really good. Spain in general, but I mean, if you skate street, there's a lot of countries that aren't even found so much yet. A lot of people are going to Greece and Rome, and with the architects in the back and the stuff to skate looks cool.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's so skating is kind of an artistic thing. It's not just
Visuals.
it's the visuals that you get. Like if you skate transitions in parks, you can get that anywhere, but street skating is really kind of more of a different beast. It's like the underground. It's like real core skateboarding, like, and that's where I think a lot of people don't understand, like, why is street skating so big? It's because it's so accessible. You live in New York, there's not a lot of parks. You go outside your door, you can jump
Rail
down,
anything.
yeah. And it's like now those kids that get really good at street, they try to find the coolest like atmosphere around them, the best backdrops, the best skate spots, because a lot of the stuff is untouched and they're not used to skaters or kicking them out. They don't even know what's happening by the time they realize. Only one place that I went that was kind of crazy was Korea. Those dudes were like not having it, dude. They were like,
I mean, it seems like
grabbing people by the neck, like
to don't let you skate.
yeah, like that. They're just because it's kind of like skating always finds a new country that has like a hot spot, and they'll just go in there, and then one person, it's like a wildfire where everyone will start showing up on trips. And then next thing you know, they're like, "Yo, dude, like,
Get out of here."
yeah." But Korea's pretty crazy.
I mean, if because it's loud. I mean,
Yeah.
and you're grinding over things that probably were nice paint, and now they're all fucked
Yeah,
up.
dude, it's like, yeah, you're damaging property.
In a way, a little bit.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it's funny because that's some of the craziest skate spots, and the best skate clips are like when you see something that's never been skated before, and it's like a picture that's just got painted, and you're like, dude, that's insane. Like, where is that? And then sure enough, everyone figures it out, and then they just
That's what places get popular.
Yeah.
Like, no one has a skate that rail looks
Yeah.
so hard.
and
Some
then
dude
in
goes-
skating, it's so weird because if there is a rail that's been skated, it's destroyed. These kids are gnarly. They'll go there and just boom, boom, rail off every trick you can do on a skateboard in a month, and then you go there like, what's been done at this spot? It's like everything, like name it. So that's why people go out to like crazy countries, and it's funny because I know you're friends with Riley Hawk, right?
Yeah.
So there's a couple spots around here in Orange County that he re-hyped because they got skate stopped. And there's this one in Costa Mesa, and it's like this concrete bank that goes over this fence. And we used to skate it back in the day, and he ended up going over there and skate stopping it and getting all the stuff off after all these years and reopened the lock on it pretty much. And it was cool because, there's like, that's kind of how you have to do it. You have to like get creative now because that spot was skate stopped for so long, And then I heard that the cops came and were like tripping out, like busted him doing it. Like, what are you doing? And then he was a Hawk. It's like, wait a minute, you Riley Hawk, you know Tony Hawk? He's like, that's my dad. And they were like, they let him have the key. Like anyone else would have just gotten like,
maybe a quick mug shot.
yeah, right.
I mean, that's cool. Like they went like, I mean,
Yeah.
some of these places that people skate that they're like illegal. There's nothing that really is gonna get that much
No.
broken.
This one goes into the street though, so it was more like you could like shoot sport into a car, get hit by a car. I mean, America's pretty soft.
Yeah, it is.
I went to Argentina recently, and the cars don't stop for you there.
Oh,
They don't give a shit.
No.
So my friend Milton, he's from Argentina. He's a really great skateboarder, and I always tripped out because he's not scared in America to just bomb hills through cars and like he's the gnarliest street skater. Like
Well, if he grew up skating in South
yeah,
America, I mean, even if you drive in South America, like
yeah,
it's like there's a two-way streets and there's like five rails of cars going. Like there's no driving in South America is something else. Like the
yeah,
way cars get next to you to like
yeah.
pass you is like
The lanes, there's no lanes.
there's no lanes,
Yeah,
and most of the times they even like rub like mirrors with each
for
other, and
sure.
it's just normal. You just roll the window, pull the back, and all good.
So it's funny because he always, we have a pretty good relationship. We always kind of play with each other, mess with each other. Um, but I was always wondering, like, how come he's so crazy? He doesn't give a shit about running into a car. Like, he got hit by a car here. Like, he doesn't give a fuck. But I seen him there, and I was like, oh,
That's
okay,
why.
dude, that shit's crazy. Like, he's skating through way gnarlier consequences there. Like,
And back then, if someone run you over,
they're not gonna stop.
oh, they're gonna probably run you over, roll the window, say you fucking
Yeah,
asshole.
you idiot.
You deserve it. When here someone hit you, they're gonna fucking give you CPR,
For sure. Or you're gonna get a lawsuit.
and you will win in
Yeah,
California.
yeah. There he's like, dude, I don't care. If I get hit by when he's here, he's like, if I get hit by a car, I'm gonna be rich.
He gets gnarly
It's
then.
like- he wants to get hit by a car.
He's
like,
waiting for the
yeah.
moment. That's funny.
Yeah. There's actually this clip where he's alling over this big ass thing, man, and then he gets hit by this car, and it was just like whatever to him. And I always tripped out on him because I took him to Laguna Beach, which is like not the place to be mobbing through because it's so saturated and cars everywhere. And he's like, this isn't shit. Like, and then I went to Argentina with him where he lives, and I was like, holy shit. Like,
That's why. There's a you guys skate a lot over there.
yeah, there's a lot of good street spots. And he's pretty much the king of the castle there. You know, he got Skater of the Year for Thrasher, and he's just a legend as a human. And he's a really gnarly skateboarder. Like, he goes for it. He's got talent, you know? He's like one of a kind.
War in Argentina, Buenos Aires.
No, I forget what beach town. We went to Buenos Aires, though. I forget what beach town he's from, but we went to Buenos Aires on the trip. Um, and his brother, his dad, his mom, they own a skate shop. They
Oh,
all
sick.
skate. Like, it's like a family thing. But he's really, really gnarly. And I always wondered why. And then I went there and I was like, this
That's
is
why.
why. Like, he skates like the street, like animal, you know? And it's like going through cars is nothing. But he even warned us when we were there, like, dude, like, don't try to roll. It's just in America, dude. Don't be rolling through the streets here. And coming from him, I'm like, dude, like,
Like here, you can ride the skate on the street and cars will move. In
yeah,
South America, a car will tell you to
no,
fuck off and probably get off and try to
for
fight you.
sure. So also, one time we were filming for this Vans movie, and Pedro Barros wanted to skate some street, and we were just in Florianopolis, and he was like, "Yo, dude, like he had like a couple bodyguards go with us, because I guess the scooters will come up and rob the cameras."
Oh yeah,
So
that's
he had
normal
these
for us.
dudes with him, and you got to meet Pedro when he comes here next. I'll have him come in here because he's a huge UFC fan, and you know, he's just an awesome dude. So he had this whole thing all set up, and he's like, he has the bodyguards with us, and we're all there, and then he's trying to skate this spot, and he has like guys with him. Like, it's just, we don't have to do that stuff in America.
No.
You know what I mean?
In Ecuador, when I'm like if I want to go get a coffee, you have to go with security. It's a different animal,
Yeah,
South
yeah.
America. Like out here, it's like you can do anything.
Yeah,
It's kind of, I mean, like you say, it's soft land.
yeah.
Like it's, and especially we're in a little bubble here.
Yeah, Orange County, like Newport Beach too. But yeah, that was a whole nother thing to, you know, those are the kind of things through skating that you get to see though, traveling and stuff. I feel like that's the
Met the
big,
cultures.
it's like an education that no one can teach you.
I mean, that's what they say. Like when you travel and you see the world a little bit, you get to understand. And through fighting, Sam, I fight in many countries, and you're like, you get to see how some people had it really nice, and you know, makes you want
And
to.
then you go to Las Vegas. You're like,
When it's all a mess, gambling,
yeah.
everything is legal. That's true too.
And there's crime, but not like crazy crime. Like, I mean, there's crime, but it's not like, you know, gang crime or like South America where they'll just like rob your ass. You know, you get these little kids that are like, you know, even in Barcelona, they always had this scam where the little kids would wait for people on the beach, and then one little kid would steal their stuff off the beach when they got in the water, and they'd hand it to the kid on the scooter, and the scooter would take off. And
Fly.
it was
I
like,
mean,
it's like we don't really have those techniques.
I mean, people haven't developed those things. Like in you can be in Ecuador walking on the street and someone just pass by you, get your phone and sprint, and it's
Yeah,
a wrap. And
yeah.
like out here, like like I have heard like most people from the U.S. doesn't even have a passport. They don't even go anywhere. But you don't get to see what you see culturally, like
For sure.
improve your
I mean,
knowledge.
that's the thing I could say that school doesn't teach you, you know, is the traveling and the education in that
Experience.
way, you know. Like I dropped out of school and when I was in the junior in high school to skate because I was 16 and they're like, do you want, you know, I started getting more trips and going skating more and getting more opportunities. And I was like, luckily that panned out for me because I'm not saying don't go to school, but what I'm saying is it definitely in my life those educations have been more rewarding
Than traveling.
than a lot of like the schooling that I had to do because even my history teacher at my high school hasn't been all the countries that I have been, but he's telling me about it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like so.
One thing is knowing by a book, and one thing is experience yourself.
Yeah.
And I mean, I finished high school, but honestly, I didn't pay attention to any year,
Yeah.
and I had never like a desire to be anything that they teach me there. And like how like normal people think, like oh, like you're gonna achieve nothing. It's like if you really love whatever it is,
Yeah.
I'm like just go for it because you will literally change your life doing something that you love.
But you gotta keep like the passion. You know what I mean? You gotta be serious about it because there's a lot of. I mean, last thing you want to do is just not do what you love to do and start. You know, you gotta have a drive that's like forever. You know what I mean? To make it really happen. I feel like.
I mean, for anyone that have achieved anything in any area, it's like it's through the love of it. And I mean, if you don't put your energy into nothing like that, then your chances to do nothing in life are pretty big,
Well, yeah,
and
for sure.
that sucks. So
I like. It's crazy because in your situation and in skateboarding, the injury thing is like a serious thing. You know, so it kind of I've seen like a lot of times where people have gotten hurt or people start to age, and a lot of times I'll get people like, "Yeah, I don't really skate anymore because I hurt this," or "Yeah, I don't really skate anymore because my family and I'm older now or whatever." But I just like I never look at those excuses. It's like
same.
it's not an excuse to me to stop doing what I'm gonna do and what I love to be doing, and I feel like people don't. It's like a beast within yourself, and I feel like that's probably one of the driving factors. Not everyone holds that animal in them, where it's like they're willing to like keep going after some detrimental situation that's happened in their life. You know?
I mean, that's what separates you from the that makes you get to that 1%, and not everybody have
Yeah,
that in with them. Like there's people that have like amazing careers, but at some point they're like, oh, I can't do it anymore. You
yeah.
can do it forever as long as you want it. It's I mean, of course, if you have like some sort of health, right? Because there's things like you
Oh
definitely.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
But
mean,
like if you have like like I always tell people, if
yeah,
you wake up, you have another chance
yeah.
to go and get it.
So I've learned too with medical technology has been really good, you know, and the process of medical procedures, whether like I've had a lot of injuries, both my ankles, I have 6 screws in both my ankles. I had the ACL done on my left knee. I had rotator cuff surgery just recently, like a couple years ago. But the doctors are getting really good now.
That's true too.
So I feel like you trust the doctors and you trust how your body feels, and if you keep going strong and don't let the mental go more than the physical, and you just combine those energies and like be like 100% sure that you know that you're going to be fine even if it hurts. Like,
I mean, that's
you got to
true.
trick yourself.
You do. You convince yourself to be like, you know what? I can do this shit.
I
And
feel like $1,000,000 right now.
I mean, that makes sense. Also, one other thing, I don't know if you know about it, but like, I jump in something called the hyperbaric chamber.
Yeah,
That's like
I've seen you in
that's
it.
like day and night in terms of like heals the small things and make sure everything is like out of danger, like ligaments, your brain, because you're like it's pure oxygen for like an hour straight. So that to me, I'm like, I tell
Helps you.
everybody, get if you get
Whether it does or not in your mind, it's like
at least in my mind, I think I'm
that's
hard
all
as
that matters right there.
I'm hard as a rock, and I'm
Yeah.
like I go, and even if I'm like, oh, I feel kind of like I say fuck it,
So how old are you now?
32
So yeah, you're prime, dude.
right now, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing too. It's like, um, I feel like that whole like mind over matter thing, and then your age, and then the recovery time that it takes. You know, it's like you got to have that mindset of that I'm 100% fine, and I feel like, you know, in my 30s were my best years. That's when I was like excelling the hardest, because when you're 20 or 19 you're still a little bit sketchy, you don't really know, you have confidence but you don't, but when you get to be like 30 and then you're like okay, and then you start realizing like your mind and your body are working together better, and then you know like as I'm 50 now, there's sometimes where my mind thinks
I
I'm
get it.
30 but my body's telling me you're 52 dude, you need to chill out, you know. I'll be 52 in September, so but like yeah, 30s are like a good year, you know what I
30
mean?
is prime for everybody,
Yeah.
but I mean, your mindset, because that's what my coach always says. Everything is mental. This is how you handle it,
Yeah.
and in your mind, that's why you're still sending it like.
Yeah.
That's what like every time I'm watching a clip, I'm like, you had. I mean, you gotta be like pound for pound the gnarliest at doing that shit
Yeah.
because like, you're not 30.
Well, the thing is too, in my situation, I kind of like skate a different genres, you know? Like for example, people that skate vert ramps with pads on a lot, it's you have the knee slide, you have the there's a way out. But when you skate street and stuff as well, it's a little more, you have to ninja out. You're gonna take a slam, and it's a little trickier to get out of. Um, and then I'll skate a lot of times pools and stuff, and parks. And I usually, you know, grew up skating with pads as a little kid, but then this no pad thing where it wasn't cool to skate with pads on. I don't know why, you know, but like, and then I started just skating without pads. Um, and now as I get older, I don't mind putting my pads on and stuff, but you know, it's a fine line between having enough years to be able to like slam without pads or figure out a
Right,
way to get out. And that's like a talent in itself, is just figuring out how to get out of a sticky situation without pads.
right.
Um, and as I get older, I feel like I still have that like understanding. It doesn't always work the best,
But
but
you get it.
I try to. Yeah, it's like takes a couple more tries.
Nowadays, where you find like the closest to get hurt, a street or in pools?
Street skating is way gnarlier because the level has gone up so much. You know, the level is crazy. Like I said, you're not going to go skate a 10 stair or 15 stair anymore.
30,
It's
50.
yeah, it's like to the point where it's like you gotta really plan that out, the days out. Like you can go skate a park and be like, oh, I'll skate today, every day I'll skate a park. But it's like not every day. Like I want to go skate this one spot that I know I'm gonna might get smoked on. So you have to really be like, this is
See if
gonna
you
be
can
the
do it.
day. You know, it's like a fight. That's like you can go train all day long, but
The day of the
the day
fight,
of the fight, you better be ready because that's like go time. So it's like that's what's hard about skating as well, is like having that like, because you know, unless you're a full contest skater only, you know, and I used to skate a lot of contests when I was forever, um, but a lot of the kids nowadays that don't skate contests, they just film. But it's almost the same mentality as a contest because you have to go to that spot that day, and you know that you're gonna have to tackle that spot, and you're like, dude, it's like anxiety. You know what I mean? You're like,
Because there's gonna be one piece of the clip you drop in
yeah,
sometime.
and you got photographers there and a filmer there, and they're all waiting for you, and it's on you, and you're like, this is gonna be the day. And then sometimes you get smoked. Takes you a couple days. Got to come back again, whatever. It's just a different work ethic, I guess, when you're filming more, you know, because
I mean, because you have to finish it.
Yeah.
Because one thing is just try.
Yeah,
The other thing for clips, you have to finish it.
for sure. And then you always get the guys like, do you want to go back? And you're like, do I have to?
Do they want to?
They're like, of course you want to, you know. And it's like,
It's just the willingness to do it
yeah.
again.
So you got to give yourself that window of opportunity to be like, all right, I feel good enough to go do that.
Which has been like the gnarliest place that you have done this like on shooting day? Like trick wise, like what was the trick and place?
It sounds weird because as I get older, that one that I did, I was telling you in Barcelona, was, it's a funny story that we were talking about this because I was skating it, and they were like, I was getting smoked on it, and then they were like, well, we can come back in a couple days, you know, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to come back to this thing.
Might as well
Yeah,
not.
like I was like thinking to myself, if I come back here, it's going to be even worse because then I'm going to have way more pressure and I'm going to be way more stressed out, and I'm already at this point that now. So luckily, I made it at the end, and they were trying to make like a little sign at the end because there was like a grate that I kept running into, like a grate for gutter, and they were trying to put like a thing. I'm like, no, just get out of here. And luckily, I made that one because I just kept thinking to myself, like, dude, I don't want to come back here.
Because if you leave, you have to think about it, and
Yeah.
for days, I'm like, fuck, I gotta go. I mean,
And I'm in a different country, and you have all those same little kids that are waiting for you to do it there, and they're at that point, the energy's like,
might as well.
but like no, like if you come back, the energy's not going to be the same.
True.
They're going to be like, oh shit, here we go again, like. And it's, oh, cool, you made it. Can we get out of here now? But, like, if you just keep pounding away on that day, you know what I mean?
Might as well.
I mean, fighting is probably gnarlier in that sense where you don't really get a redo. You can't come back. I mean, you as far as, like, in that one moment.
And we only fight twice a year, 3 times a year the tops. Like, there's not too many times to shine. And it gets... the pressure grows and grows because it's like, okay, now you have to perform. Okay, you lost your last fight. Okay, now it's like, it's a different type of pressure because there's not too many chances to do it in that year. You can train every day, you can look like a world champ, but in that night,
Yeah.
you have to look like a fucking $1,000,000.
And not only that, but even if you're completely ready, there could just always be one thing that you done wrong where they could catch you slipping.
Exactly. You can get a little sloppy. You can take some time off and think. You can think, oh, I'm gonna go for the takedown and get in a choke. I mean, it's like fighting is the hardest thing to predict. I know there's betting, and in the betting is the money, and if you have a favorite that is almost have to win, but you get cracked with one shot. You throw a kick and your feet bend. I mean, so many things can happen.
It's super unpredictable. But skating's like that as well too, because you could be grinding down the rail on a 20 stair handrail or whatever, 15, like some of these kids that do gnarly shit too, and just lean the wrong way, and you're gonna get smoked. But the thing that's the difference between like what you do in a sense is you have that. How many rounds?
If it's a regular fight, 5 minutes. If it's a main event or title fight, 5.
So you have that time, and you have to do it within that time.
Right.
And in contest skateboarding, it's like that. I guess you could consider, compare that. But a lot of these kids that just film and stuff, they can come back. Then, if they're not feeling it or they get smoked, they can come back. But in fighting, you're pretty much like,
That's I got this much time to do
time.
something happen. Yeah, that's why it's like don't fuck around.
Yeah.
Laser focus and go for the kill.
That's
because
crazy.
There's not too many times to try.
Yeah.
And then the next time, if you fuck up too much here, it's So now you have all that pressure leading up, thinking about it. That's like leaving the place and come back.
Does it feel like it's goes by quick, or does it feel slow?
It, I
It's
mean,
different.
it depends. If you're getting your ass kicked,
Yeah.
it's gonna take a while. But if you're just like on the fight, trying to figure it out, and you're not doing much, it almost like goes off your hands.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in a fucked up position, 10 seconds can feel like 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I have guys on my mount throwing elbows at my face, and I'm like, just explode that my life
Yeah.
depend on it. But it's because it does.
Yeah.
If you get cracked with one of those elbows, it's not even the pain, but one bad cut, you're done.
Yeah.
And the fucked up part is like it's not gonna really hurt you, but now it's like the doctor's gonna be like,
And
enough.
also you get the guys that are gonna stop it whether you want to or not because the cut's bad. You know. Yeah. That's a crazy concept. So we used to do this thing in skating where we'd have these jam formats, and those were the best ones because they'd give you like 15 minutes, and you just skate at your own. It's really hard when it's timed because you have a timed run. Now it's like you get 3 runs and it's a minute. That's kind of like the pressure that you're talking about.
And in that minute, you have to do like your crazy
Certain amount of
thing.
tricks. I mean, in vert skating, they used to be like it's 18 walls, so you kind of know like 18 walls. You have, especially on a vert ramp, you know.
So like 9 jumps.
Yeah, 18. It'd be like 1, 2, 3, count up to 18, and then you'd be done. You. That's how much an 18 wall would be, like a minute. But when they do the jam, it's kind of better because it's more of a you can fall, get back up, try something hard, and then if you have a really good day, you just keep killing it. So it's a different format and technique. I like the jams better, but
Jumps is the minute.
jams is the other one where you could
The
just
world.
skate at your own time and get in there when you want. You know, like when you went to the X Games. I think they kind of did that in the best trick where they gave him time to do
Yeah,
the best trick.
it was like best trick. Also was like each skater had like 3 minutes to like freestyle, but it was judged, I believe.
Yeah.
And that was on where Pedro was. It was like
On the park where you go one guy after the other.
yeah, it was like ball each, but with like a street too.
Yeah, yeah. See, those are a little more not so anxiety. It's when it's yourself with 1 minute and you have a 1 minute run and you have to like stay on, and then if you fall, you're done.
Pretty much done, right? That one out of I watched the bird live. I watched like the pool mixed with the street, and that was the funnest one to watch.
The park.
The park, yeah,
Yeah.
because they were like doing both combined, and it was pretty sketchy. Like they were sending some fucked up tricks, and they were even like grinding things that weren't even like part of the park,
Yeah, yeah.
and they were falling to the pool, and it was pretty cool to watch.
Yeah,
And they got at a fast speed.
It's you know why too, because it mixes up a little bit of everything. You have to know a little bit enough of street to do some of the rails and like transfers, but then you have to know the vert tricks to be able to do the 540s and the tricks that they do on that as well. I feel like park's a little more what a lot of the kids do, because when you go to a skate park, not everyone has a giant vert ramp.
Right.
You know, or a mega ramp. The mega ramps are insane too. I don't know if you saw them, the jump ones.
Oh yeah, those
Yeah.
are crazy.
I mean, but you don't find those everywhere.
I mean, that's like a big brand will have one, like
Yeah.
Monster or one of those.
yeah, like exactly. So I feel like that's why street skating and park skating is so much more relevant to kids, because they can just
Find one.
find it and do it.
Yeah, the ones that you drop the huge drop and you flew into the ramp. That thing is Tom Shard does a lot of those.
Yeah. That's where that Danny Way guy I was telling you about. He created that. He was the first one to like figure out the dimensions, and
Oh wow.
and he did this DC video back in the day. He actually got Skater of the Year doing that video, which was a total different genre. Like you had to give it to him because like no one's even his brother owned DC, so then when they were doing DC together, he had this vision of making that ramp, and he's the one who came up with it. And then, but yeah, it's not something. I mean, it costs so much to put up. It's not like you go anywhere and find that
Right.
thing.
It's expensive to build that.
It's really expensive to build.
And not too many people skate that either. That's like That's like kind of like extreme
Yeah,
skating.
no, that's even if you were great at skateboarding, you might not want to skate that every day. You know, it's like,
I mean, that's a huge drop,
yeah,
and now you have to
it's like a 70
only.
70 foot gap, and then the quarter pipe's 28 feet, and because I've skated it a couple times, and once you people keep thinking it's the jump, it's not the jump. You make the jump. It's the quarter pipe. Because if you go and you do an air on that quarter pipe, you're gonna go at least 16 feet.
And then you have to come back
Yeah,
to that
and
gap.
if you don't know how to do a 16-foot air, have you never done it before? Because no one does 16-foot airs on anything really. Like you're gonna get smoked. Like there's a lot of built like figuring it out and
And falling that high is you're not falling on your knees right
no.
away. You're kind of falling on the flat.
Did you ever see the one of Jake Brown where he shoots out to the bottom and his shoes fly off and all that one? It's like a
No.
famous one. Yeah,
Find that one, Rodman,
it's called it's Jake Brown X Games Mega Ramp Slam, but he kind of made the world see that
on that.
on that one, and I know from ESPN's point of view, it was the most seen clip like in all of sports. And the funny thing is he was nobody until that
That move.
happened, and then he walked into the X Games and all the ESPN execs and stuff. Oh, hey, Mr. Brown, like
He went from having a big name to like being the guy.
yeah,
I mean, that's what happened when you do something gnarly.
yeah,
Like you do something crazy, and that's like kind of like the cool part about skating now. Like not most people now film. It's not just like let's do this one tournament. It's like whoever have the
yeah. This
crazy
is it
stuff.
right here. This is legendary right here, actually.
Oh my god. Oh, he's dead.
Oh
Holy
God.
shit. That's a big.
He actually got up from that and was fine. Both
But
shoes got blasted off.
fuck, he was out cold. Yeah, like there's no knee fall in there.
So that was early days when that first started, and everyone was. I feel like that got so many ratings that people were like, "All right, this is
Let's do it.
let's do this."
He fucking eats some bad shit in
He's
that
he's
one.
one of my favorites. But yeah, so that whole genre of the mega ramp thing is like the 1% for sure as well.
It's crazy he didn't break bones. I mean, the concussion is kind of like
No, he got lucky on that. I mean, people get way hurt on doing
less,
nothing,
right?
way less.
I mean, that Skybrand when she fell on the ramp, she
Yeah,
was like pretty beat up for a while.
yeah.
I mean, flying like that is not safe.
I mean, that was pretty much like the worst scenario.
When was the last time you skated that?
It's been a while. That's right when it first started. So we were skating it in like 2006 and 7 a lot. Even Jake, I don't think he skates it anymore. Neither does Danny. A lot of the original guys that skate it. And nowadays it's crazy because Bob Burnquist is the only one who has one, and he skates it a little bit. He still rips it, but yeah,
That's a scary.
it's only a couple kids that are like willing to step to it. But it's also you can't find that thing.
Right. It's not available for
It's
everybody.
not available for people. It's like then there's a reason why.
It's so gnarly.
Oh, yeah.
Like when I see Thomas skating, he posted a clip like a few days ago, and I was like, "Holy fuck, that thing doesn't look any
So
friendly."
Tom just came out with that whole part recently, a video part he just came out with, and it's insane. It's like he kind of he's bringing back transition skating to where it's the kids. I think even though they don't really skate it enough, they're excited about what he's doing because he's refreshing the whole vert skate button. You know, it's like he's definitely on fire. And Tom's, he can skate it all. Like he could skate the park part, and then he could skate the vert, skate the mega ramp. He
It's
doesn't really skate
complete.
street that as much, but he can if he had to. But he's definitely changing skating right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to have guys like that to like bring the game back in
For
some
sure.
specific ones because for a minute, Bird was dead.
Yeah.
Like it was, you will see street and balls, of course, but now it's coming back along. Like it's lapping around.
Yeah. Well, I think the park thing's really going to be the future as well. Still, like, because there's parks everywhere, and vert's always going to be. To be really good at park, you have to learn enough vert to do the
Right.
vert tricks. You know what I mean? But it's just the verts. It's not as accessible, so not everyone has the vert
It's
ramps.
not a common thing.
It's not a common thing where like even the local parks, they don't have like vert ramps.
Right. They have like it's just like few balls and it's
Yeah,
a street.
it's more of a park street. But yeah, you don't really get to, when I was growing up, vert was everything. So you had vert ramps, and then we'd skate street. So you like,
So
you,
you guys get kind of like the fortune of have them
yeah,
accessible.
and we didn't really have parks as much. Like these kind of parks today, we didn't have as much.
You always balance it out somehow. You have anything coming up?
So, yeah, I've been going on a lot of trips. We just went to Australia on this one. We actually had to enter a contest there recently, which was insane to do. Um, and then we got a couple shoe launches. My friend Curran Caples is coming out with this signature shoe right
He's
now.
great too.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a shoe launch with him. That's coming up on the 13th, 14th, and 15th of May. We're gonna do out in Palm Springs. Um, so, and there's some trips and tours and stuff. Like my thing nowadays, which is cool, is just being able to go out and film and skate stuff still. And Vans is on the brink of making another little video, so that should be coming out this year. And then we just did this commercial for Curran's shoe, which is kind of funny. It's going to be kind of a funny, like, mainstream commercial.
Nice.
So we're doing the shoe for it and launching that. So that should be. Hopefully everyone likes it. Curran's awesome. We're gonna rent out that Palm Springs surf.
Oh, the surfboard.
Yeah, to
Nice.
launch it, which is kind of cool because they're gonna create some stuff to skate out in the desert, and then we're gonna do one day at the pool. So
That'd be sick.
it's kind of
That'd
a
be
cool
fun, yeah.
concept, because I feel like surfing and skating kind of
Goes together.
it needs to. Kern's really good at both. So
Yeah, I surfed with him one time in the Texas pool. We went with the Ruka crew back then, and he was like he can surf pretty sick too. But I mean, when he's skating, he's at his best.
yeah,
So that's gonna be pretty fun.
for sure.
Thanks for making this,
Yeah,
man. It was
Chito.
great to talk to you.
Hell yeah.
Appreciate
Great.
you.
You too. Thanks for keep doing it, man.
Thank
I can't
you.
wait to see your next fight.
Thank
It's gonna be
you.
awesome.
Appreciate you, man.
For sure.
Thank you.